Hi, everyone. I'm Cindy Edwards. Joining us now to discuss today's huge news from Atlas Salt is Atlas President Rowland Howe. Mr. Salt, thank you so much for joining me on a very big day for Atlas Salt.
Thanks, Cindy. It's really great to be here.
Now, Rowland, after nearly 2 years of talking about Great Atlantic, we now have much more meat on the bone with the release of an independent preliminary economic assessment from SLR. Lots to chew on there. In your view, what are the key takeaways for investors?
I think the really exciting thing here is that this confirms the vision we've had for Great Atlantic. It demonstrates that we can be a low-cost producer, and with ramp access, which is the proposed access to mining, and that forming the basis of the PEA, Great Atlantic would be the only salt mine accessed in this way, and the shallowest in the sector. It's designed with scalability, utilizing state-of-the-art electrified mining equipment, and it'll be a highly advantaged asset with the potential to disrupt and reshape the North American road salt market.
Now, Rowland, you've talked about Great Atlantic potentially being in production for decades or generations. Now, the Goderich mine that you managed for years became the biggest underground salt mine in the world and has now been operating for more than 60 years with lots more additional mine life. Now, the PEA for Great Atlantic references only a 30-year mine life. Why is that?
The PEA uses a cash flow model for valuation. With certain defined parameters. 30 years is a standard for a long life mine. Anything beyond that, it does not really impact the cash flow analysis significantly. There's tremendous value beyond 30 years at Great Atlantic, we know that, and anyone looking at the project would be attracted by that potential. There's every reason to expect Great Atlantic will be in production for generations, similar to what we've seen at Goderich and elsewhere.
Now, the numbers certainly suggest that Great Atlantic can be a low-cost rock salt producer in North America. So what does the path look like for Great Atlantic to possibly become the biggest underground salt mine in the world, as this PEA considers an operation starting at 2.5 million tons a year and gradually ramping up to 4 million tons a year? And of course, Goderich is doing about 6 million tons a year.
A big vision for Great Atlantic is certainly justified. And based on these initial numbers and the model, even starting at 2.5 million tons, this would be one of the biggest high-grade rock salt operations in North America already. It's definitely possible in terms of expansion to go beyond 4 million tons a year. There will be a ramp-up period and additional infrastructure required in the future.
Now, in terms of valuing Great Atlantic beyond the economic numbers that we're seeing today, multiple factors affecting the potential development of the project need to be considered. Now, what are some of the key factors in your view?
Great Atlantic has been substantially de-risked across many metrics, and this very robust PEA is just the latest example. Everything from the commodity itself to anticipated permitting and the level of support we expect from the local community and the provincial government adds to the confidence of this project. It's environmentally friendly, and we're in a resource-friendly jurisdiction. Newfoundland is one of the best places you can be in the world. And keep in mind, too, there's already an open-pit gypsum mine right behind Great Atlantic, which we've been operating for a while. So there's a history of production in the area. Rock salt prices, they're trending higher, but there's consistency there. It's a recession-proof commodity, and you don't have the cyclical swings you see in metal markets. So this is very much the perfect project, and we don't anticipate any significant roadblocks.
Now, the most recently reported drill hole by the company CC9 was not used as part of this PEA. That hole was reported January 11th and cut a 333-meter salt bed on a big step out to the east with assays pending. So how might this hole impact the upcoming feasibility study?
Cindy, CC9 truly was a beautiful hole. And it will provide additional upgrades to the resource classification with tons moved from inferred to indicated. CC9 just confirms the very large-scale nature of this deposit. It's truly massive.
When one looks at Great Atlantic and Goderich, it's extraordinary to know that Great Atlantic would be mined at a much shallower depth, about 250 to 300 meters below surface versus 530 to 550 meters at Goderich. Also, the salt bed at Great Atlantic is thicker by orders of magnitude than the salt bed at Goderich. Now, Great Atlantic is certainly an extraordinary and unique deposit. Are there any other pleasant surprises possible?
Sure. I mean, what we intend here is multiple levels for production, which will allow for selective extraction and making it easier to target potentially even higher grade material above the average grade of the deposit, which is already very high to begin with. Multiple levels also allow you to stay closer to the bottom of the decline. Other operations are mining great distances from their shaft bottoms, which requires costly maintenance of those workings. And the low-cost producer wins. A key reason that Great Atlantic is such an incredibly attractive project.
Rowland Howe from Great Atlantic Salt, thank you very much for joining us today. And thank you to everyone who tuned in as well. We will see you all again next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.